college basketball season is less than 1 week away, and the season starts with a bang. There are 126 games scheduled for Monday, November 7th, with Baylor and Mississippi Valley State tipping off at noon Eastern Time. We have 2 ways to help you get this season underway. Number one, as we did for the start of the NHL season and as well as the beginning of the NBA season, all 7-day college basketball packages will be only $49 through Sunday, November 13th at midnight. Number two, head to Ralph Michaels' homepage at WagerTalk.com and get the free 100-page college basketball preview. The shortcut to Ralph's page is wt.buzz/rm. This 100-page guide has returning starters, percentage of returning minutes, last season's overall stats, as well as conference-only statistics, plus against the spread and over-under data. It also includes coaching data, conference previews, and a forecast for each conference. Whether it's a 7-day college basketball package, checking the WagerTalk odds page for updated numbers, or downloading the free college basketball guide, enjoy this season. And March Madness will be here before we know it.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. That man in the blazer is Teddy Covers. And you're watching Wager Talk Today, the single best daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy Covers. Well, you and I were texting each other yesterday. We both had the Boston Celtics minus 3.5. Fuck the Boston Celtics. Okay. Thoughts?
I won every other game except the Boston Celtics last night, so I can't complain too much. But that was a really frustrating loss to watch them. They had the last 6 possessions, 2 missed shots, 2 turnovers, 0 for 4 from the free throw line when you're trying to close out a game on the road. And then they win by 3. They didn't get the offensive rebound, and then, of course, it goes straight to Bane, and Bane drains the 3 to cover, and that's that. That's the NBA sometimes. Frustrating loss, but when I go 3-1, I can't complain too much.
Well, good for you, bro. I had a disaster. You know, it's unbelievable, Teddy. I rolled for 33 straight days. And then Sunday was a crapper, and Monday was even worse. I had the New Orleans Saints. I had Kamara over the total, the prop bet that Megan gave out. I had the same bet. They threw to the guy 3 freaking times. He averaged over 10 yards a catch. Dennis Allen didn't think he was worth throwing to. Crappy night, but we got to move on. Some of the guys are saying, like I have a 5% tonight in NHL. I'm the $2 Tuesday. And they're like, is this an overreaction? Are you on tilt? Are you emotional? Is this, are you in sound mind? So Teddy and I, Chris, Toyko, Brandon, all the guys over at Wager Talk, we're pros. I never go on tilt in poker. I never go on tilt in betting. Every day is the same. We've been through this a million times. I've had terrible days before in my life. I've had terrible weeks. I've even had terrible months. But man, everything's still the same, Teddy. Do you ever let emotion get in the way of your handicapping?
Of course, we all do. We're all human. All right, you hear it in your voice today, Lawrence. The key is, all right, of course, we're not robots. All right, there's not a robot out here. When I have a bad day, I feel it, you feel it, everybody feels it.
Yeah.
You have a couple of bad days, we all feel it. Nonetheless, you and I have been doing this for most of our adult lives. All right, we've been doing it for 20 plus years. Chris has been doing it for 20 plus years. Brandon's been doing it for I don't know how long, but probably pretty close to that. And one thing you learn when you're doing this year after year, decade after decade is you try not to get too high. You try not to get too low. Bad days are going to happen. Bad weeks. They're going to happen. All right. Inevitably. I had a shitty October, start to finish. Didn't do anything right. Calendar turn. Guess what? I'm on a nice run in November now. It's going to happen. There will be bad periods. There will be periods where you're not seeing things right. There will be periods where you're not getting any lucky breaks. The key is don't blow your bankroll during one of those runs and save something for when you're seeing stuff good again. Yeah. We all go through it. You, me, everybody who does this goes through the exact same thing when it comes to the emotions of losing. The guys who can handle the emotions of losing are in this business long term. The guys that can't handle the emotions of losing are broke and out of the business relatively quickly. It's just that simple.
Teddy, before we get into the show, I just want to say the one really bad thing for me about having a terrible night, it takes a long time for me to fall asleep. I can't get the plays out of my head. I question why I did this. I question why I did that. But that's not where the problem lies. The problem lies in the extremely early morning pee. So I finally get to sleep. And then as an old guy, you wake up, you got to pee. So I go pee, and what hits my brain? And now I can't get back to sleep again.
Yeah.
Who's on the show today, brother?
Well, let's see who's on the show today. And once again, Prez, you gave me a list of who's on the show without the team names, without who they're playing against. And you gave Sharapan games he's talking about that I know he's not talking about. So I believe at the top of the show, we have Las Vegas Cris joining us. He's going to talk a pair in the NHL, the Flyers and the Blues, and Kraken against Nashville this evening, a pair in the NHL. Brandon Siefkin, Toyko Brandon, going to join us next. He's going to talk a little Maction Tuesday night football, Eastern Michigan against Akron, as well as the Old Dominion game in college. I think it's college football. Nobody says there. And, of course, Dave Sharapan is going to close out the day for us. Sharapan comes on each and every week to talk about things from a bookmaker perspective. He's always got interesting opinions. My big game breakdown, Thursday night NFL. We'll talk that riveting Panthers-Falcons matchup. You guys have 3 days to bet it. And that's what we have on the show today, Prez. Back to you.
Yeah, and of course, the daily presidential address. If we get to 100 likes, I did go 2-1 for you guys yesterday, so that was good. Teddy, let's bring Las Vegas Cris right in. How are you, my friend? We love having you on this show. What's going on?
Well, it's great to be here, and to expand upon what you guys were talking about, I woke up. I agree with you, Prez. It's really difficult, especially if you wake up in the middle of the night. If you have a bad night, to get back to sleep. But last night was like a win, because when I went to bed, one of the few times I actually went to bed early, I was way down and I had a small loss, and that's like a win if you come back in the morning and up to only a small loss.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Maybe I should have tried that technique. Las Vegas, Cris, let's get straight into it, man. We got some NHL you want to talk about. The Flyers tonight playing the Kraken. One thing we know about the Kraken, you bet over 2.5 goals, you're going to win. I think they're at 9 or 10 in a row now.
Nashville's playing the Kraken.
Your notes
St. Louis playing Philadelphia.
I'm just going by your damn notes. Oh, my lordy. Okay.
It's your job, Prez.
Yeah. My job to put Chris's notes in correctly. We'll go with that. What are you drinking there, Cris?
It's the wife made it. It has pineapple, blueberries, protein, and chocolate in it.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Okay, it's an eye opener.
So Philadelphia playing St. Louis plus 100. St. Louis is a disaster this year. They can't get out of their own way. Philadelphia, man, this team is playing out of their freaking mind for torts right now. How you betting this game?
Well, our hockey's been really good this weekend or this year, and very excited about it. We did really well last year under the radar. You've got the best goalie in hockey this season at home versus a team that's off a back-to-back with Greece in the net. St. Louis is just playing horribly this season. They're 3-7. They have a -16 goal differential and are on a 7-game losing streak. The Blues have been outscored 33-11. This is more of a bet against than a bet on, because we're not looking at the Flyers as a bet on team going forward. But the Flyers plus money or even money in this situation just seems like value.
Flyers at even money / plus money, worth a look for Las Vegas Cris. Let's talk about the Kraken and the Predators. Lawrence, we're just talking about the Kraken scoring goals in bunches. Look at the WagerTalk Live odds screen. That's basically a pick'em game. The Kraken short home favorites, -120. Total 6, juice to the over. What are we going to do with this one?
Boy, I'm loving Seattle in hockey and football lately. I don't know about you guys, but Seattle has scored 3 or more goals in 9 straight games, averaging 3.77 goals a game at home. They're also allowing over 3 goals a game again this season. So Nashville comes in scoring 3.6 goals per game over their last 5 games. And both of these top lines are playing well. It just seems like a no-brainer to take the over 6 in this spot for us.
Yeah, Chris, I am so with you on this play. I already signaled it out for the daily presidential address. I think this is a no-brainer, but I do want to reiterate to everybody, the Seattle Kraken over 2.5 has hit 9 times in a row. I said that before. This is one of those bets that just seem to keep making money. We saw it a few years ago with Chicago. I think they went over 20 games in a row with the first period over 1.5 hitting. Keep playing that until it changes. And yeah, against Nashville, I'm with you, man. I think we can get over 6 as well. Teddy, you look like you got something to say.
Yeah,
Oh,
the 2.5 doesn't exist for this game. The total is 6. The team you're talking about is the favorite. There aren't 2.5s out there.
Yeah, they've just recently adjusted. They've just recently started adjusting the 2.5s, but take over 3, man. The Seattle Kraken are scoring, and I like that over, Chris. Hey, Chris, do you have anything in NFL for us at all? I know we didn't discuss talking NFL, but have you seen anything early?
Well, I will quickly mention that I do have a 5% play in the NHL. Very rare. It's only the 4th one in 8 years. We won our first one earlier this season. NFL, I just got my spreadsheets in, and it's going to be, thankfully, a lower volume week. I think this week is full of a lot of landmines. But you know what? What the hell? I'll give you a play that the only play I've released to clients is the New Orleans Saints, believe it or not. So I'll go ahead and share that with the group. The metrics on this are just miles wide. I realize they're off a short week on the road, which puts them in kind of in a tough spot. So maybe that's why we're getting a little bit more value than we should be. And Pittsburgh's obviously off the bye, but that's what I'm on so far. And I only see, usually I'm a high volume guy. I might not hit 5 plays this week.
Yeah. Do you think Winston will be back behind center, or are they going to keep with the Viking?
You know what? I don't know. Watching my Twitter timeline last night, it was obvious Dalton was inept, and that concerns me that he's running out of gas because he was doing so well. I think that they might have to go back to Winston. What do you think, Teddy?
I have no idea what Dennis Allen is thinking or doing, and I'm not going to speak for that man because he says and does things differently than I would say and do them.
Yeah, to say the least. Las Vegas Cris joining us, everyone. I want to let everybody know Las Vegas Cris is the #1 most profitable handicapper at WagerTalk this calendar year. Toyko Brandon is the #2, and we have both of them on today. Chris, outstanding year, my friend. Keep it up.
Just chugging along. Thank you.
There you go. And you've got a 5%, I think you said?
Yeah, NHL tonight. Looks good.
Nice. I'm going to go check it out. Las Vegas Cris, everybody. Teddy, it's $2 Tuesdays over at WagerTalk.com. Based on my 33 days prior to Sunday and Monday, I was chosen Friday as the $2 handicapper. I was on a monster run, and then I pissed it all. But I'm still rolling, man. My NBA last night, first bad night in ages, went in on a 15-3 run. I went 1-3. So, man, I'm still on a big NBA run. My NHL has been outstanding this year, 16-10 on the season. Tonight, I am the $2 Tuesday handicapper. I have my first 5% total this season, my first. And to give you perspective, I don't put out a lot of big totals ever. On 4% and up for my NHL totals, 25-6 run. So this is a rare play. It's a big play, and it should win easily. I have a 5% total first one this year. As for Sports Memo, 3 handicappers, 3 best bets, only $5. The featured 3 handicappers are Tim Michael, R&R Totals, and Ross Benjamin. All 3, $5. My brother, what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting last night?
Nothing, but there's 2 things we have to talk about because one we learned over the weekend and one has to do with today. I'm going to start real quick. They hate it when I talk about politics on the show, and I don't blame them. Democrat, Republican, obviously big issues, but it is election day. I encourage you to vote. I endorsed one candidate. He's my friend, and he's a sports bettor. He's going to fight for our interests. He's a smart guy. That's Nick Christensen. He's Nevada State Assembly District 2 here in Las Vegas. I made a bet as well. I bet Cortez Masto last night against Adam Laxalt. Laxalt is $2 favorites here in Nevada. Snow in northern Nevada. Big time snowstorm up there. They expect it to turn out relatively light in a red part of the state. Laxalt at -$2 I thought was a little bit too high, so I did bet Cortez Masto last night. But anything I talk about politics is either my friend or something I'm betting. We got to talk about Mattress Mac because it's the biggest win in sports betting history. $75 million in futures. You didn't bet it all at one book. Multiple books were bet. But when you hear how much that $75 million is actually affecting the books that took the action, here's the Penn Entertainment CEO, Jay Snowden, on the company's earnings call. Quote, if Mattress Mac doesn't hit, we'll be profitable in Q4. If he does, then it'll probably be closer to break even-ish. Caesars, quote, I think most of you are aware we got a fairly high-profile liability out there with the Astros. That will be a swing factor whether the Q4 is positive as a whole. So we're talking about huge corporations with these $30 million payouts, $20 million payouts that added up to $75 million for Mattress Mac. But it's the difference between profitability and not profitability for a quarter with the payouts for Mattress Mac. I hope the books got the publicity they were looking for because it didn't do good for their stock prices. Prez?
Well, we know Mattress Mac got a lot of publicity. That's for sure. It's all anyone's talking about over the last 2 weeks. It's really unbelievable. And his concept of just hedging against his promotion, I mean, the guy's a genius. That is for sure. He's a marketing wizard. Congratulations to him. I'm glad it all worked out. Tokyo Brandon, my friend, how are you, brother? Oh, my God. Like, what? He was doing one of these, Teddy, like he's like a 15-year-old rocker guy or something.
Yes,
He's
sir.
still on the Kiss kick a month later.
Went to my first Kiss show when I was 8 years old. It was great. Veterans Memorial Coliseum, Phoenix, Arizona.
When?
1978.
Did I ask? When did I ask?
Prez, you are in one of those moods today. My goodness. Ugh. But I feel like, you know, Las Vegas Cris is so laid back. He's so laid back. It's like Dick Cavett, you know?
Yeah, I love the guy. Yeah.
He's smoking right now, but he's so laid back.
He wouldn't be a great foil for me permanently. Teddy is a perfect foil for me because Teddy's not laid back.
Yeah.
He's just but he's still a good straight man. You know, he's yeah. So it works out well. Brother, let's get straight.
Because wait, when I met Teddy in person, which was this last time out, you know, I figured Teddy was going to be this intense guy. Such a sweet guy. I hate to give away your persona on live TV, Teddy.
Dan,
but
mute this guy. Mute him.
Yeah,
Are you out of your
Prez brings
freaking
out
mind?
the worst in me all the time.
I can see that.
Are you insane? Teddy is a sweet
Probably.
Guy. Says nobody ever unless they're getting paid.
Vivian was an absolute sweetheart as well, but you know,
That's true.
Anyways.
That's true. Anyway, brother, let's get into it. Eastern Michigan. Is this the game you want to talk about?
Yes, sir.
College basketball. Eastern Michigan and Akron. 57 is the total, 56.5 somewhere out there, and -7 for the road team. How are you betting this game?
Yes. So the total, I'm going for the team total here. It was 32.5 for Eastern Michigan. I think that's a little too high. My numbers, I went the numbers out, and I have Eastern Michigan scoring right around 20 or 21 points here. So I'm going with Eastern Michigan team total under 32.5. That's how I'm approaching this game. I realize both teams are in the crapper, but you know that doesn't bother me because usually when you get two terrible teams against each other, they do score like crazy. That's true.
Yeah.
Little,
Yeah.
little trepidatious on that one, but I still think Akron can keep them down. If you look at Eastern Michigan's last few games, they're not scoring. They're not scoring that much. They lost to Toledo and Ball State. They only put up 20 against Ball State. I don't think Akron's that much worse than Ball State, even though they're 1-8 and 0-5 in the conference. 32.5 just seems really high. So I'm going under on the Eastern Michigan team total, 32.5.
So why is this total as high as it is? Is this all about Akron's defense being unable to get stops? Because one thing I've noticed about Akron's defense, they don't force a lot of field goals. You know what I mean? If you're driving down the field and you're in the red zone against Akron, you're getting 7. You're not getting held to 3. Is that why this total is as high as it is? It's all about the Zips not getting stops.
So.
Are you worried at all about that tonight?
Akron doesn't force a lot of victories either. But if you look at their games, the last few games, the only team that really trounced them bad was Ohio. And I think I've been making a lot of money betting on Ohio this season because they're really overlooked by the books. Ohio's a really good team actually, and they put up a 55 spot on them. But besides that, they haven't got trounced that bad. Only teams that have gone past this total are Kent State and Bowling Green. I don't think Eastern Michigan's better than either one of those teams. So yeah, I think it's high just because they're 1-8. But the only team that really trounced them was Ohio, and Ohio's a really good team actually.
Toyko, I want to ask you something about this Tampa Bay Buccaneer game. I know we didn't discuss talking about it, but you're an old guy and you travel.
I am old and I do travel.
Yeah, and I'm an old guy and I travel. And one of our listeners, Gordon Mathers, writes, NFL card this week is a minefield. I've only one bet so far, Seattle on the money line. Brady won't travel well to Germany. He's not wrong. Like, I'm going to tell you guys as a fact, I'm 53 years old. And when I was in my 20s, these time zones had zero effect on me. Like zero. Like I got off the plane. It was like fresh as a bird. Once I hit 40, it did start to take effect. And every year after that, it got worse and worse. I go to Vegas, which is only a 3-hour time difference. And I come back and it affects me for 3 full days. Brandon, as a guy who travels all over the place and a man whose balls hang low like the rest of us, do you agree with this kind of concept that Brady is just not going to travel well?
I do, especially in time zones that are 10 hours or more. Because I traveled to Chicago last week. It really kills me on the second and third days because you can't if you can't get your sleep in, and Tom Brady's going through a lot of crap off the field as well right now. He's probably better off without that lady, but he's going through a lot. I mean, being away from your kids, being away from, not knowing what the future holds. Oh my God,
that's like a dream, being away from your kids. I consider that's literally the definition of vacation.
For you and me, probably, but for a guy like Tom Brady, it probably tears him apart. So, and, day 2, day 3, it does catch up with you. Yeah, I completely agree with that theory, especially 9-10 hour time difference. Yeah.
So it's a 6-hour time difference from the East Coast to Munich. It's a 9-hour time difference from the West Coast, where Seattle is traveling from to Munich. So of the two older quarterbacks, because Geno Smith's no spring chicken either, it's a much longer travel for the Seahawks. But the question that I wanted to ask, all right, really, when it comes to a game played in a foreign venue, okay, where there's significant travel involved. Lawrence, you're flying commercial, right? You don't have like a charter jet with that lets you sleep. Have you seen these team planes? These guys are going to fly around the world.
I've been
better.
on these team plays.
They're going to fly around the world better than any of us
back
do.
into my face.
Teddy, that's
they're
a good
going to,
point.
you know,
that's a good point.
It's not, you're not flying commercial. There are no middle seats.
It is a good point.
That's
a great point.
I
probably have more miles than both of you. So let me just say this: if you don't get your sleep rhythm adjusted on that airplane, you're screwed for the first 2 days. Let me just put that out there.
Regardless of how comfortable the seats are.
Yes.
You're screwed for the first 2 days if you're working on normal time schedules. They're not. Their time schedule is only what time is practice,
which is even worse,
what time do we eat, what time is our game. So they don't have to get on normal time schedules. They're not trying to acclimate to living in Germany. They're trying to acclimate to playing a 6:30 a.m. game in Germany. And one would think that it's not about the first 2 days.
Yeah. Let me just leave it with this comment. I think both of them are probably going to be playing like they got a 3 or 4 hour night of sleep the night before. That's pretty much what I would equate it to.
I'm with you, Toyko. Let's get into this Old Dominion game. +8. What's going on? Are you taking them?
Yeah, I know it's hard to take Old Dominion after they just got blanked by Marshall 12-0, but and that was at home as well. But James Madison is one of the most overrated teams in the entire college football array of teams here. And Old Dominion actually, they can put up some points at times. You know, they got a quarterback who's got 14 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. I look at these teams as pretty equal. I mean, I know you can't really say, oh, that they both played the same team and look at that outcome, but they did both play Georgia Southern and a couple other teams, and the outcomes pretty much exactly the same, except the JMU games tend to be higher scoring. I have these teams pretty much even, almost neck and neck here. And if you can get more than a touchdown for either one of these teams, especially the home team, I think that's a take. And when I bet it was +8. I'm all over +8 with Old Dominion here.
Beautiful stuff. Toyko, Brandon, everyone. I'm Mike Love writes, forget about the cube. Sorry, Teddy?
Quick promotion, if I may, Lawrence. I do have a 5%. Okay.
But you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm a pro, dude. I'm a pro.
I'll get to that. Smack
go
that
ahead,
nose.
Brandon.
No, I do. I'm the number 2 all sports, all profit capper at WagerTalk in 2022 after being the number 1 last year. And actually, I'm working my butt off to catch Chris. So hopefully I can be number 1 2 years in a row. But I do have a 5% play out for this weekend. You can go get that. It's in college football. It's on my WagerTalk.com page. Toyko Brandon. Go check it out. $9 plays every day in Asian sports as well. That's it for me, guys.
Okay. Thank you for that kiss signal or whatever the hell it was. Get out of here. Teddy, one of our listeners writes, forget about the QB. Is Pete Carroll going to have enough energy to coach? Pete Carroll is energy. There is nobody that has more energy than Pete Carroll. Teddy, get ready. We're going to take a quick break. Your big game breakdown. And David Sharapan, who I asked to come on early just to look at him, is up after that.
The college basketball season is less than 1 week away, and the season starts with a bang. There are 126 games scheduled for Monday, November 7th, with Baylor and Mississippi Valley State tipping off at noon Eastern Time. We have 2 ways to help you get this season underway. Number 1, as we did for the start of the NHL season and as well as the beginning of the NBA season, all 7-day college basketball packages will be only $49 through Sunday, November 13th at midnight. Number 2, head to Ralph Michaels' homepage at WagerTalk.com and get the free 100-page college basketball preview. The shortcut to Ralph's page is wt.buzz/rm. This 100-page guide has returning starters, percentage of returning minutes, last season's overall stats, as well as conference-only statistics, plus against the spread and over-under data. It also includes coaching data, conference previews, and a forecast for each conference. Whether it's a 7-day college basketball package, checking the WagerTalk odds page for updated numbers, or downloading the free college basketball guide, enjoy this season. And March Madness will be here before we know it.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk a little Thursday night NFL. The riveting matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Right now, look at the WagerTalk Live on screen. I'm seeing Atlanta, 3-point road favorites. We have seen some over money today. Total has been bet up to 44 in most locations, despite the fact that Carolina came out today, or Steve Wilkes came out today and said, we're going with P.J. Walker again. After P.J. Walker's 3 of 10 for 9-yard, 2-interception performance last week before mercifully getting benched, a game in which Carolina had 1 first down at halftime and Cincinnati had 21 first downs at halftime. The quote from Wilkes, I could bench everybody if we go off bad games. We're going to rally behind P.J. and definitely give him the things he needs from a game plan standpoint so he can execute. Much easier, and yes, I'm being sarcastic here, for a interim head coach to get a game plan ready for Thursday. So give him the things he needs from a game plan standpoint. I'm not so sure Wilkes and his staff are capable of doing that right now. And of course, Sam Darnold's coming off the injured list. Baker Mayfield came in the second half and threw the ball all over the field last week. So P.J. Walker gets to start this week. And oh, by the way, multiple injuries for Carolina, both sides of the football. This is not a team I can recommend people put their money on right now. Atlanta had the Chargers beat last week a couple of times. They let it get away. This team's been remarkable. Every time they get to 500, they lose. In fact, since the start of 2018, Atlanta's been at 500 13 times. And they've lost their next game each of those 13 times. But they bounced back off of those losses. We saw that repeatedly this season. I expect the Falcons to be the better of these two teams. They got the better quarterback, they got the better offense, and they don't have as many defensive injuries as Carolina. -3, very reasonable. Falcons or pass for this better. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers awesome stuff. Real quick, I'm at the gym. I'm at the gym yesterday. There's this robust lady standing next to me. Probably 55, 56 years old. I don't know what the politically correct term for a 300-pound woman is. I don't want to get in trouble. So, okay, she was 300 pounds. She looked great. Whatever. The thing is, my daughter FaceTimes me from work. And my daughter's all pretty up. She's got her hair all done. She's all decked. I answer the FaceTime standing right next to this woman, and I'm like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And the woman turns around and says, are you talking to me? I was like, that's a TikTok. Nobody filmed it. God damn it, that would have made a great TikTok. Dave Sharapan joining us. What up, my brother?
What is wrong with you? I mean, seriously, what is wrong with you?
A lot. Like
the drama.
Where do you want me to begin?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, but you could have made her day and said, I wasn't, but I might as well have been. Instead, you let the opportunity walk away. She would have walked out of the gym going, it's working. It's all working. This guy with this gray beard said, I look great. And he said I was beautiful. So instead, you let an opportunity go by. I can't believe it. Boy, your beard looks exceptionally good today, though. Seriously.
I love you, Dave Sharapan. Guys, let's go. 13 more likes to get to 100. I got
just
3
hit the
NHL
button
plays
already.
for
We don't
you.
need any drama. I almost said drama.
We love
correctly.
drama. It's Flex Tuesday. Look at that.
Flex Tuesday.
Look at that.
Wow.
That lady was admiring this.
There's no doubt she was. She was checking to see if that was a piece on your head, too. She was looking real close.
Yes, I messed up. My brain didn't work fast enough to compliment the beautiful 300-pound svelte lady. Dave, Teddy, let's get some actionable info.
Yeah, let's get Prez off the screen for a couple of minutes.
I got a question for Dave. Wait. I got a question. Put those stupid things back on. So you have
you like my wife's sunglasses.
You have 2 beautiful daughters and a wife.
Three daughters.
Three daughters and a wife.
Yeah.
Which one of the 4 women did you steal those glasses from?
I told you they are not theirs. They are mine. But if you can pull it off, you got to do it. So yes, they're not my wife's glasses. Every week he does it with this. That's why I'm going to keep wearing.
Well, you come on with the freaking most feminine glasses on the planet, Teddy. I'll shut up now.
Please, for the love of God, get him off the screen. There are days and then there are days. Dave, let's be the grown-ups in the room and talk about Mattress Mac for a minute. 30 million. Caesars is saying that this is going to affect their earnings for the quarter. All right. Penn Gaming says the difference between being profitable this quarter and taking a loss this quarter. Are the books really? I mean, I would think the books should be making more than that a $10 million loss or a $30 million loss from the bigger books, they can handle it. But those losses legitimately affect their bottom line for the corporation for the quarter? Talk to me about that.
Oh, for sure. That's a big hit no matter who you're dealing with. But in the fall, as this quarter ends, I think you tie it up at the end of October. No, maybe it's the end of September. So it's actually this quarter, right? October, November, December. The number of games lessens as far as football. The biggest handle is September, October for football season. So you take a hit, you grade the games, you grade the World Series futures in November and go, uh-oh, what are we doing right now? That is a big number. So, volume-wise, I mean, it's not as big as a number as you think, just company to company. And 30 million, I mean, if you handle $1 billion and you hold 3% as a company, that's $30 million. Handle $1 billion in a year, you hold 3%, which is not unreasonable. I mean, if you're not pushing same game parlays and all this other stuff, that's probably 3 to 5% is what you hold for the year. And this guy takes out 30 million out the front door with the baseball future. Hello. So if you're holding 5%, it's 50 million for a year with $1 billion in handle. Took away half your profit right there for the year. So Penn shot win bet was 12 million. Betfred was 5 million. I mean, these books, that's a big risk to take at a price that you can't get back. You don't even handle that much in baseball futures sometimes. So Mattress Mac is smiling. He got a suitcase full of money.
Do the books get anything from this? Is publicity from Caesars worth $30 million or Penn Gaming or anything? Is it, hey, we'll take a big bet from a marketing standpoint? How much is that worth? And a second question, you were a sports book manager, risk manager for many, many years. What's the biggest loss you ever remember taking?
Oh, there was, I personally myself took, 7-figure bets a few times. Lost $1 million on a Super Bowl. But we took $1 million back, so we were kind of just balancing the action. The first part of the question is it's how you sell it to the shareholders and to the people as far as the marketing cost, right? You can't buy that type of advertising on platforms all over for the amount of people that talk about Mattress Mac. Maybe, he goes on shows or puts stuff on social media and you get all these views and clicks. But the reality of it is nobody cares who the book is that lost. Nobody cares. Right. Like I used to say it in the book, like you think you're buying advertising, you're still paying out the money. So, there were times Mattress Mac came into Vegas and talked to us about betting futures. And we told him, this is the price. This is what you get. Do you want it or not? And he never bet it with us because he couldn't get the price manipulated enough to what he wanted. So we said, thanks for coming in. We'll talk to you later. Other places want that action, want that publicity, and want to take on that risk. More power to them. I don't personally think it's worth it, Teddy.
We're talking, of course, with Dave Sharapan at SportsBKConsig, the Sportsbook Consigliere on Twitter. He does shows all over the internet. You can see him on the Sports Grid radio and TV network on a pretty regular basis. Dave, before we get into NFL, and Prez has a whole list of NFL questions he wants to ask you, I want to talk about the opening of college basketball yesterday, because obviously college basketball, more, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, and well past the time you go to bed last night, 120 something games. How'd the books do on opening night? Is college basketball all about, for books, trying to break even before Christmas? You talked about that. And is this anything really going to influence anyone's bottom line? Anything stand out to you from the opening day of college basketball action?
The sheer volume of games that they've decided to take over on a Monday it's mind-boggling to me, and it kind of sneaks up on some books where they're just like, whoa, like college basketball starts next week, and they start really looking at it. The availability of the number of lines on the number of games is just blows me away. It is really like overwhelming. And I was looking at it today, and I know, the people and they enjoy the show and stuff, but I wanted some actionable info. I'm getting texts from people, Sacred Heart today in East Carolina. You guys look at the plays. There's no NBA today. Sacred Heart in East Carolina. Put that in your pocket and do whatever you want with it. But those are the plays that I got today. As far as the book's bottom line, Teddy, yes, it's just like, let's get to Thanksgiving first, and then all those crazy tournaments start, and you get the Maui Classic and all that other stuff. You really got to watch the futures right now, because there's people that are firing bets on futures to win their conference or to win the NCAA championship. Those are really usually sharp money bets. After that, it's literally just try to get to conference play, and let's watch those totals, because the totals are where it's at. Seeing people just beat up books on totals in college basketball like nothing else.
Yeah, Dave Sharapan joining us, everyone. And Dave, I mean, it's all people always talk about this 6-week period from when college basketball starts to around Christmas. That's generally been regarded as the finest betting opportunities out there. Is it still the same? You still see it that way?
Oh, I think so for college basketball. Yeah, I just think you have to be very selective. I think your best. I've told people this in the past, and I've seen guys do this where they just get better at a conference than the book. Whether it's
That's
the Big
what I was going to say next. Yeah.
Yes, whether it's not always like the Big Ten or the SEC.
Cal State,
although
Northridge,
there's gold in those games. There's absolute gold in those games. And, between Ralph putting stuff out, the WagerTalk sheets, there's so many resources now where you can get information in a concise manner and not have to spend 2 or 3 days doing it. You can spend 2 or 3 hours, watch a show or two, and kind of get an opinion, and then just get better at it. So, yeah.
And
plus,
get,
for us, it's
and
a hockey time, too.
Get Ralph Michaels' college basketball tip sheet. Dave, NFL big card like always. We got a Thursday night game, Sundays, Monday. It's all happening. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What do you like? I'll keep this a very open question so you can decide what to talk about.
Well, I mean, you heard Teddy's big game breakdown for Thursday. There's nothing to add to that. Anything. It's Atlanta or nothing. I mean, who wants Carolina at this point? I can't believe the line's on 3 already. I would have put it over 3 and had it maybe come back and try to take some Carolina money. This thing may not move now, because once you get on 3, it's really hard to get off. So I'm surprised they went with 3. As far as the weekend, I mean, everybody's talking about the Minnesota-Buffalo game. That's why I tried to figure what to wear today with no NBA and a full slate of hockey, which I know you're going to annihilate in the presidential address, and I'm sure you've been having a good weekend too with that. Minnesota-Buffalo, I thought the books put it a little bit high. And again, Minnesota's, they only have 1 loss. They didn't cover Sunday. They're going on the road, and it's all about whether Josh Allen is healthy or not. Nobody really knows. We'll find out. Already saw the line get played down. So they're grabbing the points with Minnesota there. Dallas feels like they're the side. They're going to be a very public side against Green Bay, but I can't blame them, because Green Bay is a disaster. They're terrible. I mean, if you want to go to the window and say, give me Green Bay, good luck with it. And this might be the week they cover. Could it be the week they win? I don't think so. But, man, who knows? That division looks like it's a wrap. Chicago's only 2.5 or 3 against Detroit. It's nothing personal, Johnny Detroit. And, yes, they just beat Green Bay. They're not going to Chicago winning that game on the road. but you probably should bet that game over. That's a play there. After that, it's hit and miss. There's a lot of weird matchups this week. Indianapolis, Vegas. What the hell's going on in that game? I mean, you got Saturday getting the job. Is he getting the job as like just a 7-week? Listen, somebody's got to take it. Nobody in the room would take it. I need a guy to run this team. Take the job. They're getting 6.5 points. The Raiders are 2-6 and laying 6.5 points. Complete nonsense. That game, half the NFL looks like that to me, at least right now.
Dave Sharapan at SportsBK and Sig on Twitter. What do you have to promote, my friend? Thank you so much for your strong takes and information on WagerTalk Today.
Teddy's the best. Every day, Monday through Friday, Bostonian versus the book. Me and Peralt, we're going to go do that here in 10 minutes. You can find that on YouTube. My shows personally are Cash Considerations. I do that with Dan Alexander and Carl Haskell every single week. You can find that on the Cash Considerations podcast YouTube channel, along with 8 in the Box with Brad Howe, specifically college football there. We're going to dive into college basketball. And then every single day, Monday through Friday, Sports Grid TV, Gabe Morency, Cam Stewart, Joe Ranieri, Dubs Anderson, and myself from 4 to 7 Pacific, 7 to 10 Eastern. Thank you, boys. Flex Tuesday on the way out. I'm glad I made it early. Now I'm not leaving, and I got to watch the presidential address. We got to.
Well, you're gonna take us home at the end of this.
Oh, I got more jobs.
Sorry, Teddy. Oh, it's time for the daily presidential address. I'm Lawrence Presman. I hope you guys watched Wager Talk today. It was an unbelievable show. We had the number 1 and 2 most profitable handicappers at Wager Talk for this calendar year, Toyko, Brandon, and Las Vegas Cris. I do want to make mention, guys, that it is $2 Tuesday over at WagerTalk.com. And this guy is the $2 Tuesday handicapper. I have my first 5% NHL play of the season. It's only $2. Make sure to grab it at Sports Memo. 3 handicappers for $5 to Michael Arnott totals, Ross Benjamin. All 3 handicappers only $5. I love this NHL card tonight, guys. I have a 5% play up. I also have a 4% play up, but I love 100. I love every play on the board, but one of my favorite plays is the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. It's a small chalk play, and I got to tell you, I was standing with Vivian last night, and I was like, this is one of those games that are just tough to write up. What do you say? You know, Las Vegas is 11-2. They've won 9 in a row. They're annihilating everybody. How do you justify taking the Leafs here? Well, let me start by saying Vegas ain't going 22-4. And Vegas is going to hit the skids at some point. Toronto is a better team. They had a rough start to the season. They've won 3 in a row. This is one of those spots where you will get the best out of Toronto. Toronto on the money line, and take Toronto a little bit in regulation as well. Same with the Vancouver Canucks. They're going into Ottawa. This is a bet on hockey team. Take Vancouver and also take Nashville over the total of 6. That's it. Dave Sharapan, why don't you take us home?
Man, I can't go down as low as Teddy. You put all this pressure on me, but I put the glasses back on. For Lawrence Presman, for Teddy Savransky, Teddy covers, myself, Dave Sharapan. This has been Wager Talk Today. Thank you for joining us, as always, taking the time out of your busy day to watch these 3 knuckleheads talk sports and follow along on the Twitter. Get the app, Wager Talk Today, and good luck.
The college basketball season is less than 1 week away, and the season starts with a bang. There are 126 games scheduled for Monday, November 7th, with Baylor and Mississippi Valley State tipping off at noon Eastern Time. We have 2 ways to help you get this season underway. Number one, as we did for the start of the NHL season and as well as the beginning of the NBA season, all 7-day college basketball packages will be only $49 through Sunday, November 13th at midnight. Number two, head to Ralph Michaels' homepage at WagerTalk.com and get the free 100-page college basketball preview. The shortcut to Ralph's page is wt.buzz/rm. This 100-page guide has returning starters, percentage of returning minutes, last season's overall stats, as well as conference-only statistics, plus against the spread and over-under data. It also includes coaching data, conference previews, and a forecast for each conference. Whether it's a 7-day college basketball package, checking the WagerTalk odds page for updated numbers, or downloading the free college basketball guide, enjoy this season. And March Madness will be here before we know it.